Alright folks, hello and welcome back to Downstage Gaming. I'm your host Josh, and this is part 7 of our Let's Play of Head as Code. When we last left off, we had found the lounge here for the first time, had a nice drink, you know, calmed down for a little bit, and also got into some other people's business. We got a little bit into how Ray is related to Jasmine in some weird way, and then we just sort of got over the more aggressive twin. I believe her code name is H, if I'm remembering correctly. She's clearly dealing with some trauma that was upsetting her in some strange ways, so we clearly don't fully understand what's going on there. But after that, it's been a while. We're all ready to go. The twin calmed down, Jasmine was back on her feet, and the drinks were, sadly, left alone on the counter. That thought made me truly feel sad, these poor drinks, all alone. But I couldn't take those on a date. I had to go with Jasmine, so I'd inquire about the event she might have shared with Ray. So, how are the teams going to work? I'm going with Jasmine this time, if I can shotgun that. I'll take the punk. He pointed at Marco. Strange, I thought he might have opposed my idea. I'm actually a bit surprised too. But perhaps he didn't want to team up with Jasmine again. Who would? But to go to the length where he'd willingly pick Marco? The decision no one wants to make? Perhaps something I'd said shook him to his core. What? Stop looking at me like that. It'll be fine since you want to go with your girlfriend over there. She's not... never mind. Jasmine giggled at his ascertainment of the situation. Apparently she found that line very funny. Great. My chances with her are probably at around 0. I mean... I don't know, I just get so annoyed at this point in my life with the protagonist who cannot even vaguely assess someone's liking of them. I don't know, it bugs me. That's okay, I guess. He didn't look enthused about it. Our teams ultimately were very different than the first round's groups. Nothing was in place to force us to mix up, so the twins went together again. Do we have our teams? If that's the case, let us go at once. Obviously, A would go with E, since, other than me, he was the only one who could communicate with her. Yeah, we haven't done that yet, even though we got the stuff. I could have simply handed the bag to someone else, though. That's also true. But I did want to investigate her situation again later. For now, we all walk down the stairs in pairs. Maybe it was just my imagination, but I noticed Jasmine had a bit more pep in her step than earlier. What could that be about, do you think, Simon? Probably her zero interest in you, huh? Was she just happy to finally group up with me? Little old me? Maybe I had more of a chance than I imagined before. I too was happy because that was the only person I really figured I could go on a real date with. Yeah, I mean, if you're assuming that you are strictly heterosexual, I mean, I don't know what E's age is, but you're not gonna date the twins because they're, like, you know, teenagers. And the rest of them are guys, so that makes sense. He was nice, but also difficult to deal with. I prefer my relationships easy. Marco and the other guys were out of the question since I didn't swing that way. And the twins? That's illegal! Never in a million years! I shook my head to clear up my thoughts. Once again, they were obfuscated by the name of this stupid game. The dating game was named this way because we went in pairs. I understood that. But why the name in the first place? It was embarrassing. Why are you trying to embarrass us, Smiley? With your nonsense about dating. It was almost as embarrassing as admitting to Jasmine all that I thought of her. I glanced at her again. Come to think of it, she was a little different now, beyond her peppier step. She's a pretty nice person, but in here, she took the lead a lot, and she was unafraid of confrontation. Those were traits that she did show before, but not to this extent. Either she changed during these years, or Jasmine being away from me stopped me from extending my cowardice to her. Probably the former. I don't think that's really how cowardice works. The train arrived in the middle of my daydream as we all stepped in for a destination unknown. You know, I will say there is something spooky about that sound effect and the, like, slight pause. So I'm sure that's eventually gonna be in a much more tense situation, and it's doing a good job of building that up. Train closed its doors, and finally took off. This time we were heading in the direction we hadn't explored earlier. Very little words were exchanged comparatively to our earlier escapade. I zoned out after a bit, fell asleep. Apparently while I did so, the twins left at the first stop we had. I forced myself to wake back up from that moment after a while. Looking over the others, they were all naturally segregated in their teams of 2. I was very close to Jasmine, so I could tell something was a little different about her. She was a little nervous. Do you want to leave at the next station? Oh, huh? Yeah, that sounds like a good plan. The train stopped after another half-minute, and we disembarked without fanfare. Come on, Ray. Give us a standing ovation as we leave the train, please. Is that so much to ask? I only questioned her after the train stopped, once we were outside of it. I figured what was making her nervous might have been something the others weren't meant to hear. We stepped into the lobby, and the door did its magic. I wondered what would happen if only one of us stepped inside of this place. Will the door still close? I chased that thought away since I needed to address Jasmine over what she might have found. Anything specific on your mind, Jay? Oh, you can tell, huh? Well, I wonder if this place... I listened. For all I knew, it might have been incredibly important. But it wasn't. This place is kind of, you know, it's weird, right? Did you figure out? So I was thinking, well, I was hoping that there were bathrooms. I looked at her, somewhat surprised. All of this for bathrooms? Come on. Oh, I haven't seen any, I don't think. Does seem like kind of an oversight to not have a bathroom in that lounge area. But maybe if you look around here... She went up the stairs at my suggestion. I followed after her, but I was much slower. There wasn't the same kind of desire welling up in me. I'm not sure if that's what I would call a desire, but okay. I was also still in shock from the sudden shift. I really thought she'd figured something out, but this... Pooping? This is a laboratory. She stated the obvious once we entered the main room of this station. A lot of stuff was scattered around, stuff that I wasn't too familiar with. Dissection tables, pots containing stuff in formaldehyde, complex computers, even a microwave oven was in here. Get me some Hot Pockets. All stuff that I wasn't too familiar with. Except for the microwave oven. Jasmine didn't look disgusted by any of the formaldehyde, but I couldn't stare at them any longer than a few seconds, and only if necessary. I really hope there are bathrooms here too. Felt my stomach turn a bit at the content of those pots. There are some doors on the sides of the place. One of them looks like it won't give even if you ram a car into it, huh? Look at how solid it is. What does the other one lead to? I think that's the exit hallway. That means the bathrooms are outside. She left the room to wander the hallway outside, giving me a head start in my search. Wasn't too happy about that since she left me alone with all those disgusting things in the jars here. I just am so the opposite of Simon here in terms of his, like, germaphobeness. I chose not to look at those things until she came back. Crack the code! The little tone there is also very 999 in the puzzle solving animation. Alright, well, let's just get started here. What's this weird electronic thing? That's so fucking cool. Useless to search, but cool anyway. Okay, whatever you say. That was one big-ass switch. That's one big-ass switch. Better not touch it. I don't know why you felt the need to say that twice, Simon. So much stuff on there. Couldn't make heads or tails of what the stuff was. Bottles, plates, tools of all kinds. Oh, I know. It looks like the operating table next to me when I go to the dentist. Okay, yeah, sure, I can see that. There's that drill, the pincers, the hammer, and the anvil, you know, to break your teeth apart. Then they forge you a new set of heavy metal teeth, sharp as shark's teeth. Obviously, none of this was true. If it was, I would have gotten the never get cavities again with shark teeth dental plan ages ago. Fair enough. Interesting. When I looked in there, I saw another room. Another room full of science things? What is this? And what is the huge tube in the middle? That looks really suspicious. Backed away, unable to open the door. Didn't even have a handle. What's down under the table here? These things are big machines. Kind of like servers or something. Data storage, or maybe? Better not mess with it. Got any hot porn on the computer here? Tried to turn on the computer, but nothing was working. No button did the trick. While there were many ways to turn on something, you're telling me, the only way that was available to me was the use of the power button. Maybe if I had been more suave. Well, I could always give it a shot. What's a beautiful piece of electronics like you doing in a place like this? I spoke directly to the computer screen. Obviously, nothing happened. It was a bad pickup line anyway. So, come here often? Even worse. I was thankful Jasmine hadn't been here to witness this stupidity. No wonder the computer refused to talk to me. Just like every other computer I've ever met. This is why I hate computers. I took a glance into the microscope, but what I saw was so disgusting, I almost threw up my lunch right then and there. My beautiful sandwich lunch. Horrible, horrible vision. That's right, there was absolutely nothing under examination. Made me sick. Sick, I tell you. What a waste of lab equipment. Gone unused for who knew how long. Terrible. Then I realized it was because I didn't put anything to examine under it. I looked around and spotted a few of them close by. By sliding in one of the little examination thingamajigs, I renewed my attempt. Looks like two circles. One's very dark blue and the other's very dark purple. They're almost the same color. Wonder if corporate would want me to find the difference between those two pictures. Simon, what on earth are you talking about? This floor is squeaky clean. That's weird since everything looks like it's gone unused. Did someone pass by to clean this place earlier? There was a plethora of unanswerable rhetorical questions to be had for sure. Alright, and the door? That's the door Jasmine took when she went to find the bathrooms earlier. Suffice to say, it led to a hallway and, you guessed it, the bathrooms. When I opened the door, it squeaked a little. The door hinge needed a good dose of oil to be serviceable again. Come to think of it, door hinge, door hinge. Why was door hinge the only rhyme for the word orange? And it's, you know, it's two words, so it really doesn't even count. And was that true, or was that some kind of urban legend? If only I was a master linguist, I could have known the answer to these questions. Why be a master linguist when you can be a cunning... Oh. Simon. Simon. Oh, that's it. That's a good one. If only Marco were here. Hey, Jay. Call for her. No, come on. And she came by momentarily. You gotta hear this great joke, Jay. Her trip to the bathroom is over. I was thinking about oranges and... Oranges? Did you find weird food in here too? No, it's about... Oh, so the color then. No, it's about the door hinge and the cunning linguist. Oh crap, I told this whole thing out of order. Jasmine was nothing but confused at my words. The cunning linguist? Who's that? How did someone make it in here while we were up together? Was it the 9th person or something? Where are they? Never mind. It's just a dumb thing. It was a really, you had to be here. It was super funny if you were here. Nothing to do with an actual person. Despite my failure in delivery, Jasmine was back and would now search this place alongside me. Well, great, fantastic. Well, let's talk with Jasmine then. So, what did you find so far? Oh, I looked into some drawers over there. They contain knives of all kinds. Uh-oh. It's kind of dangerous, so I closed them back. Think we could do something to lock them up better? They didn't have locks, not sure what else we could do. Maybe we could put something in front, or just remove the knives? How do we remove the knives? I guess we could go throw them out into the tracks where people can't go. Nah, I don't think we need to do that. After all, we'll probably be the only ones who will explore this place. Nobody will take one or anything. Despite my words, she didn't look convinced. She'd played in a death game before. Oh well, I wasn't gonna mess with this place just for that. What if we had the need for those knives later, too, when we murder everyone? Couldn't just get rid of them. Alright, well, Jasmine, you're here, so let's go in reverse order here. We didn't explore this before. Hey, what's the etymology of the word formaldehyde, anyway? I'm not really a master linguist, so I wouldn't be able to say. That was my chance to say my earlier pun! I cleared my throat and ran a hand through my hair, looking confident about this one. Perhaps you aren't a master linguist, but I may be of service as a cunning linguist. Again with the cunning linguist. You say you're one? You're cunning? And it backfired immediately. Did she just not understand the wordplay? Or was she making fun of me? My hand dropped back down to my side and I admitted defeat. One of these days, Jasmine. One of these days. I watched as Jasmine looked into the microscope. You trying to see if we could shrink ourselves to molecular level and slip through the door's atoms this way? Maybe we should shrink our children. That's not how reality works, I don't think. But no, I was just curious. And? Feeling less curious now? Yeah. There were 2 circles of the same color, but no other discernible qualities. Guess I'm better off looking at some other stuff. How strange. Computer on yet? This thing won't turn on, Jasmine. It's not plugged in. Oh my... Simon! It's literally the joke answer to tech problems. I cursed. How could I have fallen for the stupidest mistake? I didn't even try turning it off and then back on again. I leaned down under the desk and looked at the plug. Just as Jasmine said, it wasn't plugged in. Do you see an outlet anywhere? One over here, she called from the corner. I had to twist my arm a bit to throw the plug that way, but Jasmine managed to catch it. I hate it when you gotta do that kind of stuff. She went to insert it swiftly, but I caught her arm before she pushed it in. You're way too eager to put that thing in, Jay. Oh, hush, it'll be fine. It's okay even if it goes all the way in one go, right? I don't think so. Is this just more sex jokes? Is this what we're doing? Such a thing requires finesse. You have to tease it a little. Can't go in... Oh, Jesus Christ. Simon! Simon! I refuse to say this. Tease it? Making it wet? But isn't that dangerous? What if I feel a jolt? I mean, if you feel some kind of jolt, aren't you doing it right? I mean, this is not the spot to practice your tight 5 here, Simon. My God. Are you sure it should be that intense? Yeah, why not? You can't feel it course through your body or even using the right, size and all? If it was like that, I think I'd pass out. Oh, of course not. It wouldn't be that bad. Just a lot to take in at once, I guess. Should I? I mean, I could help you with it. I could use my own and... Your own? Do you have one too? Do you think... This is going on so long. Well, it has to. It's made for that. Wait, what do you mean by... I think it's just better if it's... Oh, Jesus. Okay, now I don't know. Is she in on it too? Is this just foreplay for these two? I think it's just better if it's wrapped in rubber first, at least. That should prevent all the issues, no? I mean, that can be one way, though I say if you did that, you'd feel it Jesus! But isn't that the point? Of course not. The whole point is for it to feel good. S, are you some kind of masochist? Huh? To say it would feel good, are you that kind of person? Because I don't think... Oh, no, I'm not a masochist. Okay, good. Then you have no issue with me putting it in. This is going on so long. That's so uncomfortable. Yeah, I'll just put it in. It doesn't need that much preparation, trust me. But wouldn't that hurt? Oh my God. We're like going in a circle here. I mean, for me. Nope. There's no chance that happening as long as you let me do it promptly. It's okay. I'll put it in now. Wait, I don't think I'm ready for that kind of thing yet. She didn't answer, instead pushed the plug into the outlet. I remained there, stunned for a moment. Wait, what have we been talking about? Well, what's been the last 20 minutes of this? Interrupting me, the computer booted up. While I remained there, stunned, Jasmine rose up and took a look at the screen. It's locked with a password. Did you find any of that? No, I didn't. I slowly rose back to my feet. Password. That was what we needed to find now. But what about that earlier topic? Maybe we should joke about it for another 5 minutes. I had to talk to her about it. Jay. Yes? Never mind. I was far too embarrassed to How could you possibly have gotten this far and now be too embarrassed? Oh my god. Alright, well, let's look at this thing again. When I looked in there, I saw another room. Hey Jay, look at this. It's weird, isn't it? The door doesn't even have a handle either. Can't open it. I can't see with your head in the way. What's weird? There's another room that looks like this one a little. Has a big tube in the middle. Let me see. I walked back and let Jasmine see. I noticed her brows furrow from the side. It's very strange. And you say we can't open this door at all? There's no handle. It clearly opens from this side too. It's just not accessible for some reason. What do you think it is? Maybe it's like a bunker, you know? The door looks solid enough for that. But why would someone want to make a bunker in a science laboratory above a metro? If I had the answer to these questions, I think I wouldn't be here still. She made a good point. I backed off from the door entirely following that exchange. Still nagged at me, though. I didn't know what its purpose was or what was behind it. I rummaged through the contents of this table. Magazines and microscopes and science stuff, more science things and science objects of all kinds. It's a land of science. Bill Nye's dream room. And over there was another science item too. So much science. Among the science, I saw something a little more familiar. It was a USB stick. Well, I wonder what we could use that for. Finally, something I can recognize and use. As for its purpose, I have no idea. At least I had it now. Alright, well, before we go do that, let's look at this. Look at all this stuff! Jay, what do you think all this is for? These? These are cooking utensils. Huh? How do you... Do you want me to bake a cake? I didn't answer for several moments, too horrified to put my wits together. I think I'm good. Like, this is very clearly, like, in the style of 999 and Virtue's Last Reward, like... You have a little bit of, like, some quirky humor as you examine through things. But, like, there's a pace to that. Like, that last one, that was fine. It was weird, but it was fine. But that, Jesus, that one with just non-stop sex jokes. My good God. I tried entering QWERTY as the password, but it didn't quite work. And neither did password or Hunter2. Since I was all out of options, as those were the only ones that existed, I decided to plug in the USB stick. Wait, did you try Smiley's birthday, too? Do you know the date? Otherwise, we have 365 possible outcomes. She didn't know it, neither did I. As I spoke, something happened on the screen. The USB stick I inserted triggered something to run, despite the account not being accessed. Hey, what's going on? Looks like it's cracking the password on its own. We inserted the hacker stick. What did you do? I just put this thing in the PC and it started doing it on its own. Really weird if you ask me. Is Smiley playing a practical joke on us? Why would he give us a crack for his own password? Maybe the goal is just not to see us fail? Excuse me. It's really odd though, I agree. 2 minutes passed, and the password was still not found. 5 minutes. I looked at Jasmine, but I could see she had surrendered herself to the wait. Cracking a password is sometimes pretty close to a miracle, you know. But it's staggering how fast a computer works, especially this one. I think I saw liquid cooling in it. Very advanced. But you know, miracles aren't that uncommon by this definition. You know about Littlewood's Law, right? Now we're getting into the 999 VLR nonsense conversations. No. That seems like something not many people would know. It's just that under his definition, miracles are one special event to a million normal events. So basically, a miracle is 1 out of a million. And when I say miracle, I don't mean a magic trick or anything, just a special event. The thing is, if a miracle is an event that happens that rarely, you'd think you wouldn't personally see one during your entire lifetime. However, what if we weren't just one person? I don't understand. What do you mean by not just one person? If you put 2 people somewhere, then you only need 500,000 events to happen to each of them on average to account for 1 miracle. And then 3 people would divide it into thirds and 4 quarters. If you have 1 million people in the world, then the chances of seeing a miracle happen is much likelier. And how many of us are out there right now? Thanks to the law of truly large numbers, we're so numerous that miracles happen very commonly, in fact. Or at least special events, not impossible events. Doesn't that sound crazy? Since we're a few billion people, thousands of miracles are happening at the same time every day, and multiple times a day, most likely. So what you're suggesting is that the computer cracking the password is doing the same thing? I mean, it's trying a lot of times, so clearly it's hinging on the law of truly large numbers, which says that with enough attempts, you'll eventually see something happen. And it's working so fast, I wouldn't be surprised if it resolved the password situation in only a few more seconds. She looked at the computer intently, but such a thing wouldn't make it work faster, obviously. Well, all I'm trying to say to pass the time is that the more attempts you have at making something work, then the likelier that thing is going to work. Unless you try over and over doing the same thing and never changing anything, because that's just insanity. Yeah, I know the definition. Isn't that thing totally, false, though? I forget who they attribute it to, but that's not actually true. At least that's what I remember hearing. And just at that moment, the computer finished its solving. Ah! You know what? You know what something I very rarely jump at? Is a computer finishing a process. Not usually something that startles me. I didn't actually think it would do it that quickly. I'm not gonna complain, though. I gazed at the screen, and upon it was the sequence to enter for the doors outside, most likely. It read 2022220427. Looked like a date, but it also had other numbers on it. Yeah, I mean... I'm not immediately seeing anything super special about it, not based on things that we know. Well, that's a long code. Do you think it's that easy? Would it really give us the solution already? This feels like we were set up. Yeah, we were here maybe 15 minutes or something? Is that really all we have to do? We both split up from the main room and went down each side to try the code into the door. It worked! The door opened with a sliding noise. Assuming Jasmine had entered correctly on the other side, we could now use both sides of the station again. Since I had the side that went back to the lounge, I patiently waited for Jasmine to join me again. What about that solid door in the laboratory? You know, the one with a circular window? I went to it just now and pushed with all my strength, but nothing. Couldn't open it. Looked like it was fully welded in place. Maybe we have to come back later. Maybe that'll be an important plot element later in the story. Jasmine shrugged and we waited for the train to arrive. This room had been strange. What with the, 13 minutes of sex jokes and then 2 minutes of computer solving. I had something I wanted to talk to Jasmine about before I could say anything, the train arrived. It stopped at our station seconds after our arrival. Wow, that's remarkably fast. It's almost like it had been waiting for us to come by so it could try to jump scare us. I mean, I think at this point it's safe to say that the trains are automatically coming when it knows that you're there. You've told me before trains didn't wait for us, and now you keep saying that? My perspective on trains has vastly changed since, Jen. That's fair. You should keep your mind open. There is no gain in having narrow-minded cultural assumptions about our train friends. Your friend and mine. The train. What are you talking about? It's simple. Trains are people, like you and I. Haven't you ever heard of Thomas? That construct. The elegancy of the train's shape. The materials used within its construction. All of this couldn't have been engineered by anyone other than the world itself. In short, trains have feelings too. And you need to apologize for hurting it, Jasmine. Machines are alive. To assume otherwise is, well, preposterous. Let's not be racist about trains, okay? It's just a train. Let's go inside before it drives off. She pulled me before I could place any other word. I admitted defeat and stepped in. Shh, the train overlord is speaking to us. The doors behind us as a voice called out to... The doors closed behind us as a voice called out to us. I, for one, welcome our new train overlords. It was an old voice. I should really look this up. Procane Station Security. No, not that voice. Another voice had been drowned out. There you are. It seems we were taking the same train after all. I was taken back by his sudden appearance. What were the chances we would take the same train again? Eve was along with him, though she was sitting on a chair further in the compartment. Do not worry, I'm simply perceptive. It was not so difficult to make it back out relatively quickly, even with a partner such as E, who doesn't have a full skill set. I'm just that much of a genius. A few seconds later, the train stopped at the station, which housed the twins. Neither of them were waiting for the train, so it didn't take long for the doors to open. And then come closed again. Okay, so that's interesting. So at least in some way it is going around to the stops even when the people aren't there. Finally, it took off once more. In the small amount of time we had before we made our way back to the lounge, I could probably talk with somebody. Just one person, though. Well, you know what? We never get a chance to talk to E. Let's talk to E. I left Jasmine and A together for them to talk, instead taking out a couple pens from the bag I had. I figured perhaps E would have some idea of what we just found. I wrote about the strange secondary lab to her, and she replied with an inquisitive look. I could tell, even if her upper features were obscured. I can't say I know what its purpose is. You found a laboratory, you said? Can you describe it briefly? I wrote onto the paper some more. I didn't have a lot of time, but if she asked for details, then perhaps she figured something out that I didn't think about. I exposed the stuff that had been lying around. The formaldehyde, the computer, the password cracking, and what I saw in the second room. While waiting for her answer, I glanced at Jasmine. She was relaying what she knew to A, except she completely omitted the second laboratory. I see. Or, well, I guess I don't. Sorry, I'm not very helpful. I don't know what it's about. If it's a laboratory, though, maybe... She pensively brought a hand up to her headset. Was it related to that laboratory? Suddenly, I believe that perhaps the link she shared with this place may be more conventional than ours. However, before I could ask her anything else, the station came into view outside of the windows. The train was going to stop. Extending this was an exercise of futility for the time being. Train stopped at the station with the next half-minute. After you, then. The old man went to fetch E while I left the train with Jasmine. Are you sure we need all this secrecy? Information is important here. You never know who you can trust. Well, I chose to trust a blind and deaf girl, so... We took our conversation further away into the lobby. Then we went up the stairs ahead of the old man and E, who had just come out of the train. I don't want to say we can't trust them, but the lounge was becoming our hangout spot rather quickly. It made me comfortable, but Jasmine's presence was slightly unnerving. I didn't truly believe the old man was suspicious of our secret, or that he had any right to be doubted. After all, he'd been helpful so far, and nobody who appears good could ever be bad. He gave me a way to talk with E, and he shared information. I think that's too paranoid. Look who's talking, Mr. Afraid of Everything. Hey, that's not fair. Life's not fair either, but I shouldn't be this harsh. You're right. Listen, I just think there's a bigger puzzle to solve beyond each individual station. What makes you say that? She closed her eyes and thought about it intensely, reclining on a couch. I joined her. Even if I got mad at her a little, it wouldn't last very long. I don't know, I just feel that way, I guess. We found that door, and we have no way to open it. Back on the first station we explored, Ray and me, we found some other stuff. There was a hidden room. It just felt very strange. Like, I just want to get out alive. Maybe we'll get to find all this out later together, but we need to have a leader. Jasmine was no longer merely thinking about the situation. She leaned towards me insistently, as if seeking my approval. I could do nothing but nod. Something felt wrong, but I didn't really have a grip on reality. Where were the others? Where were the old man and the disabled girl? Shouldn't they have come up the stairs too? Instead, I found myself prey for Jasmine's ideas. She was right, in a way. It was difficult to trust anyone but one's close friends. However, the thought that Jasmine felt different flashed by again. I couldn't shake the feeling, and it made me feel quite uncomfortable, too. Jasmine was dependable, but Jasmine was also a person who usually went with the flow. She didn't really force it. Was she a leader? Totally. But she wasn't one to direct things, and she'd been quite bossy so far. And yet she was the only person I could fully trust here, other than Marco. I felt something against my cheek. It was her hand. She was holding my chin, and she turned my head towards her. All I could see now was Jasmine. Let's just get out of here alive, okay? Anything could happen here, and actions speak louder than words. Don't you agree, S? That's why some things are better left unsaid. Her breath was heavier. Was she flirting? Was this her way of flirting? I couldn't understand. My heartbeat picked up. At that moment, I didn't realize how much of a dumb teen I was being. I was nervous like some sort of clueless, overeager virgin, which, given my actions in the previous room here, seemed quite fitting. But if she was scared in here, she would understand that perhaps we might die here. If that was the case, my feelings weren't unrequited, then what she was suggesting... Sure. I want to get out of this alive, too. What she was suggesting was to make my attraction to her more obvious, to let my actions speak instead of my words. Since A&E hadn't come up the stairs yet, we were still alone here. For all we knew, this game would kill me, so there was no other option. I had to do something and let her know that maybe she felt the same way. As the moment in which our heads were close to each other stretched further and further, I started thinking about the train again. We'd been taking it before. Marco, Jasmine, and I were on our way home. That was a strong memory. It was all the stronger now. Why was I thinking about that stupid train again? I had to think about Jasmine. Maybe I could do it. Maybe I could tell her. But I didn't have the time. And we don't have the time either, folks. Because we will have to find the time next time. We will continue on. This is a strange little last bit there. Seems to be implying some things about Jasmine that's interesting to think about. And I'll think about that. We'll come back next time and we'll see where this goes. Until then, though, this has been Downstage Gaming. I've been your host, Josh, and I will catch you all next time.